Hello gamers, Zoltan the Gamerman here with my first ever video, which is about my honest thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch Games. This is a review of sorts, and yeah, I know it's a bit late, but this is what happens when you're a weekend gamer. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how this game looks, what the story is like, how long it took me to finish, but most importantly, I'm going to talk about what an absolutely amazing and unique feeling it is to play. To just step into the boots of Jin Sakai, ride your horse around the island of Tsushima, and just absolutely dismember, shoot, choke, stab, cut, hack, slash, slice, dice, and scare the living bejesus out of the Mongols, who, led by their cunning and despicable leader, Khotun Khan, were stupid enough to try and take over your beloved home. I will keep this video spoiler free and only show gameplay from parts that do not contain any important story elements. Alright, let's get right into it. Okay, I just want to get this out of the way right off the bat. Ghost of Tsushima is hands down the most gorgeous looking game that I have ever had the pleasure of playing. The wonderfully lush and almost always windy open world is absolutely devoid of even a single dull moment. However, it is quite generous with scenes and images that have left me like, from the mesmerizing mountaintop vistas, to jaw-dropping sunsets of orange and pinkish hues, to the gorgeously white snow-covered forests up in the north. Each new view, each new landscape, new type of falling leaf and particle just left me feeling with a sense of wonder. And every time I was like, wow, view, you're breathtaking. Then I saw a new, even more beautiful one. Then I was like, you're breathtaking! And then another, and another, and another, and another. Seriously. Average sights that you encounter in Ghost of Tsushima while just riding around are prettier and more visually stunning than the scenes in other video games which were quote-unquote made to look beautiful. This game is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, honestly, I could go on the entire length of this video and then some about how pretty this game is. I mean, for example, in other games, when there's an opportunity to fast travel, I usually take it. Yeah, even in video games, I'm a lazy bastard. But here, I would rather just ride the entire length of the frickin' island than fast travel. It's just so beautiful. Okay, there are a few shortcomings in the graphics department, like the grass can be sometimes a little low quality and the water as well, but most of the time, I just looked at the game and went, nice. Okay, moving on to audio. The game sounds are overall wonderful. They're immersive, and if you have the hardware to enable 3D audio, that's a must as well, because it really adds to the immersion, and the overall game experience. The combat sounds, they're also great. You can almost feel each slice of the sword, and the impact of each swoop and clank of steel, not to mention when you cut through your enemies with great bloodlust and vigor. And let's not forget about honor. That's very important as well. You cut through your enemies with honor. Okay? There's this one little thing, at least for me. Running around with Jin while not on horseback it's a little awkward, There's this panting that he does every few seconds, like, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm nitpicking here, and maybe it was more prominent for me because I was playing with headphones on the whole time and the sound turned way up. But searching houses and areas and just running around in general, hearing that weird little pant from Jin is kind of bothersome. Anyway, that said, the overall sound quality and variety, they're really well done, It helped me immerse myself into the world of Tsushima very, very well, With almost each combat encounter, I just couldn't help it. I found myself doing the Bruce Lee sounds, the... And I don't often do that when fighting in video games, so yeah, I'd say the sounds got me pretty into it. The story of Ghost of Tsushima is quite straightforward. Mongol leader Khotun Khan has invaded the island of Tsushima, the only defense standing between the giant Mongolian army and mainland Japan. Now the Khan defeats the samurai defending the island, he captures your uncle, Lord Shimura, and almost kills you, Jin Sakai, the final member of one of the noblest samurai clans in Tsushima. However, after being nursed back to health by a woman named Yuna, you have only two goals. Rescue your uncle from the clutches of the Mongol warlord, and... Get the kill! Get the kill! Get the kill! With the word kick here being replaced by kill. As I said, not too complicated, but very well executed, and it did keep me interested in the game from start to finish. However, for me, the main story was not the main attraction of Ghost of Tsushima. I found the stories of the game's secondary characters, your allies, to actually be more intriguing and even a bit more well written than its main story. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but these guys have such interesting and at times downright gut-wrenching stories of their own that I was just compelled to try and learn as much about them as I could before realizing that if I don't finish the game soon and make this video, which is actually the first in a long line of videos, I hope, that it wasn't going to come out until December of next year. The game also has tertiary side quests that can be found out in the world throughout your travels and by speaking with peasants, and they are also quite varied and unique. I mean, honestly, the way these quests and stories are crafted and put together, it kind of reminds me of The Witcher 3's side quests, where each and every little mission and contract and snippet of the game not intertwined with the main story, they all had depth and a lot of thought put into them, you know? I mean, yes, there are a few which boil down to take out this camp here, or find me some food or supplies there, but thankfully these are few and far between and kind of always made fun by the gameplay. Seriously, I enjoyed every little side mission, every little secondary and tertiary quest, because even if the underlying theme of really very few of them was kind of dull, the gameplay, and here of course I am referring to the slicing and occasional dicing of the Mongols, it always made up for it. And there is really a lot to do in this world, whether you're just riding around, enjoying the view, or going to your next story mission. I mean, so far, whenever I set a marker for the wind to guide me to my next mission, there always were a couple of encounters or side missions that were so intriguing that I just had to go and see what they were all about. Not to mention the little yellow birdies, which are always super helpful and guide the player to secret places like fox dens, shrines, hot springs, and other interesting stuff. Admittedly, they can be a little bit distracting at times, but I think it's worth it. This is by far my most favorite thing about Ghost of Tsushima, even with me gushing about the beautiful graphics and scenery from earlier. And the most fun part of gameplay? That's right, baby. It's combat. It is most definitely the highlight of this game. The controls are simple yet elegant. You can feel each strike of your sword, that it has impact. However, you must also be wary that your enemies, while not as deadly as yourself, they're also dangerous and can easily end your life with just a couple of attacks if you're not quick enough. Now, the other thing you can do with your sword is duel people. Oh yeah, you can have old school Japanese movie style duels in this game, and they are awesome. I mean, the stare downs, the building of the score, the tension, and the waiting around for Jin to stop looking so passionately into his opponent's eyes and take out his sword and dismember them already. I mean, yeah, duels are super fun, but I think that even if you are into that Kurosawa art style, which admittedly I'm not too familiar with, after about 10 of the duels, the wait for them to start, just waiting through the cinematics, it just kind of gets old, like...
2 hours later.
Ugh, finally! Anyway, moving on. A little into the story, you get a bow, and as your legend grows by defeating enemies, liberating camps, and completing story and side missions, you can also unlock different throwables like kunai, black powder bombs, smoke bombs, sticky bombs, and so on, which can be used in the other major element of gameplay, stealth. Stealth in this game is pretty basic. You crouch, hide in tall grass or on top of buildings, you sneak up on enemies and put them to sleep with your lullaby knife, or tanto as Jin likes to call him. As the ghost, you sneak around Mongol camps, taking out everyone silently using these weapons to your advantage. So, naturally, I jumped out and started hacking and slashing every living creature that was unlucky enough to get in front of my katana. There are certain story missions that require a little stealthy ingenuity, but for the most part, it's either hide in the grass, get on top of a building, go behind the enemy, and sleep them with the lullaby knife. I will give it this, though. I think Sucker Punch knew that the stealth wasn't going to be this game's forte, so they made it so that if you get discovered, you can still go out there between a bunch of enemies and hack and slash your way through them like the badass that you are. The other thing is that I think that stealth in this video game is massively overshadowed by direct sword combat, so at least for me, it's just that in this game, I prefer badass katana action over sneaky, crouchy, stabby action, But let me know in the comments if you do like the stealth in Ghost of Tsushima, and if so, tell me what you like about it. However, at times the strictly necessary turned into awesome ghost ninja action. And of course, everything can be upgraded, from samurai combat skills to moves specific to certain stances, to types of projectiles and throwables, to armor, to bows and swords, either with technique points unlocked through progression, or the collectibles you gather all around the world. Now I want to talk a little bit about traversal. Your main means of travel is your horse, who you can choose and name during the prologue phase of the game, and who will stay your loyal companion throughout your adventures in Tsushima. I really like this part because it gave me a sense of connection with my horse. It gave me a similar feeling to the one that I had in Red Dead Redemption 2, where at the beginning of the game I also had to pick out my horse, named him, and then I took care of him, I brushed him, I went everywhere with him, only so that he could be taken away at the end of the game. And I have to be honest, it still stings to think back to that. And that just goes to prove how attached you can get to a video game or parts thereof when they are so masterfully crafted. And Ghost of Tsushima is no different. So, to sum it up, you have a horse and he's awesome and you can ride him wherever you go, so have fun with him. Now I want to say something about what I don't like with traversal. Whenever I need to climb something or jump from one point to the other, it just feels clunky, there's no two ways about it. Whenever I push the jump button and Jin engages in what I can only describe as a supersalt, I kind of feel like there's no way that a man could jump that far or that high, no matter how well they're trained in martial arts or anything. Maybe he went to the Samurai Jack school of jumping. Now, this doesn't mean that the game was always totally at fault, however. There were occasions where the clunkiness was all Zoltan. Being a weekend gamer, I don't measure playtime in hours, I measure it in weekends. Hopefully this will help out some of my fellow weekend gamers who haven't had a chance yet to play this beauty. So the time it took me to finish Ghost of Tsushima is about 5 weekends. Some of them I played almost all day and some just a few hours. I even managed to sneak a couple of hours during some weekdays as well, so yay for me on that one, and take that, responsibilities. Now, I usually try to discover most, if not all, of what a game world has to offer me, so I spent quite a lot of time exploring and doing side missions and whatnot. But if you stick to mostly just the main story, I think you can cut that finish time down to 2-3 weekend stops. I also think that that would be a mistake, because then you'd miss out on the gorgeous and stunning visuals, a lot of awesome gameplay features, and quite a few immersive and emotional stories that Ghost of Tsushima has to offer. Ghost of Tsushima does not reinvent the wheel, but it takes inspiration and a lot of great features from other games, implementing them really well into its own world and giving them just enough of a twist not to feel too borrowed. In the experience that I've had with the game, I found it to be really and truly the most visually stunning, most beautiful game that I have ever played. It's really immersive and interesting, with a lot of depth and lore that feels very well studied, beautifully implemented, and honored. I really do think that Sucker Punch knocked it out of the park with this one, and apparently the gaming world thinks so too, because Ghost of Tsushima is the studio's #1 quickest selling game. I truly think that this piece of art will be remembered as a PlayStation 4 classic and a great addition to PlayStation's 4th generation. I will be sure to return to it and play it some more, finish the side missions that I haven't managed to, and hell, maybe just go for a relaxing ride through the masterfully and gorgeously crafted world of Ghost of Tsushima. And I believe you should give it a try too. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed the video, jump on that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, and don't forget to ring the bell button if you want to be notified when I post new content. I'm Zoltan, and these have been my honest thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima. Take care, be well, and don't forget, keep on gaming.